I believe Chandni told me you've also seen how we changed the situation or improved matters in Pondicherry. I believe
Absolutely.
all of you seen it.
Yes, I have shared the video with them, and they have seen and they got really inspired, and they have, they would want to interact with you on that as well.
Okay. So you're looking at community effort, which they've seen, and you've seen the government effort with the community in Pondicherry. You've seen these two efforts.
Correct. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Now let's go ahead. You can start with your questions.
So good morning. I'm Nikita from Gurugram, studying grade 9. As a part of my project, I reviewed the rainwater harvesting system of the Close North, which is a residential complex. I wanted to ask you a question about the Water Rich Puducherry mission. That I came to know that the PWD was initially unable to commence the project due to lack of funds, and as soon as you appealed for funds, the donors began to pour in. So, how did you manage to convince them, ma'am?
How did we manage to convince the donors to help us? Is that the reason? Is that your question? Both in Navjyoti and Pondicherry, or is it focused on Pondicherry?
I'm focused on Pondicherry.
Okay. How did I manage to convince?
Yes, ma'am. I believe the first donor was the university.
All right. How did I manage to convince was not at all difficult, because everybody was aware of the problem and people were suffering. They were getting saline water in their water taps now, and they were suffering the issue where they were buying Bisleri water despite being poor, and they saw no work done, but they were feeling helpless. So people were aware of the problem. Question is, how does the problem connect with the solutions provider? That's the issue. People are aware of the problem, but people are also aware who the solution is. But how do they get the persons who have the power for solution to act and deliver? That is where people are powerless unless they are organized and united, and they create create a pressure, community pressure. That's the challenge. So problem is known in the country and anywhere. Wherever the problem is, people are aware and they but individually talking, but they're not collectively asserting. One of the way of collective assertion is the panchayats in rural areas, or the wards, the municipal corporations, or the wards, the municipal ward in the urban areas. But they do not assert. They do not. They don't feel empowered enough to go to the powers that we say, and they force them or compel action. The difference is, I was already in power. But the issue, now the other challenge is, do I use my power or do I also become an onlooker of the problem? Well, I made the choice. Choice was, I shall not be an onlooker. I have the power and I will drive the change. Now that's what you're talking about, the change maker. So I decided to be the change maker. And I was gifted and privileged that I had the powers of change. But I also need to stretch. I need to go beyond. Now I have two ways of the leader has two ways of working. One is delegate and direct the work to be done. Order it to be done in writing or in verbal or in meeting. Direct it to be done. Second is lead the change. Question is lead the change. Now I realized that the first was not working. Telling them to work was not working. Why? Because it involved more than 5 agencies, many agencies. It involved the municipality, it involved the water harvesting, agriculture, it involved the community leaders, and panchayats did not exist. And also it involved the public works department, and it also involved the finance department. Who brings them together? Who brings governance together? The chief secretary. And the chief secretary is status quoist. So how does it work? So as a government, I could direct them in writing and ask them to send a reminder. So I had a choice. Second choice was this choice, which is normally followed, is you tell, you delegate, you ask, you write, and you ask for a report. You ask for a report. I found that the report method was not working. it had failed. Otherwise, it would not have come to this pass. And the money also did not exist. I decided to be a proactive change maker. The way Navjyoti was a proactive change maker. But now this is where Navjyoti's work in the community and my work in the government was similar. We decided to be the pro change maker. We went to the site, fed the problem, stated the problem, wrote the problem, and announced the problem, and generated the community support for the problem. And then we used our own goodwill to find the donors. That's exactly what was done. If you saw the channel, we used our goodwill, our trustworthiness, knowing that we are asking for others and not asking for any individual benefit. And that's where the donors came in. But we also let the donors know that you are users of the water. Your industry is dependent on the water. You are using community resource. And if you continue to use community resource without the community being compensated, then government can take action against you. So that was another dangle which we hung on them, saying, you dare do it. Again, because I was in the government. If I had not been a proactive change maker, I could have done a lot of paperwork. I could have shown it, saying it, and I could have complained that the officers did not deliver. I decided that it's not time to complain. It's time to act. So you are right. It's the action which matters, and it was transformative action. And what did I do? I led the change. I went to the spot, called the donor to the spot. I found the donor. I appealed to the donor. I spoke to the media. I spoke to the communications, and I found the money. The money was with the people. So I tapped people strength, people resource, and that's what it worked. So friends, remember, to be a change maker, there are always ways to drive the change. One is delegate the change, and the second is do it yourself. And in the do it yourself, you have a whole set of strategies to follow, and they're opening up. So that means you have to continue to connect the last mile. You have to complete the loop so that you drive the change. And that's why the water table went up. The loop was water table went up when the rains came. They were the canals were ready. They had been cleaned up, and now the rate of water went straight into the canals, and the water started to get accumulated and housed. So this is where you have to be change maker. That's an example. I'm glad you saw the video, because now it makes sense. Had you not seen the video, I would have had to visualize the video for you. Now I'm not visualizing it. You saw the donor, you saw the canal, and you saw me on the ground, I believe so, because that's what I told your friend, not to show the video again when I'm with you, so that we can save time.
Thank you.
It's really inspiring how you got really involved in the project when you could have not done it, but still you chose to do it.
Yes. And that is what leadership of change is. Remember, leader must detect when to lead and when to take a backseat. That's a test of the leader. Leader need not all the time be leading. Leader has to make others lead. But when the leader finds that there is nobody else to lead, then the leader has to lead the whole queue and then make others as leaders. That's another very good aspect of leadership, is you lead and make others lead. And then once the others have started leading, then take a step back and allow others to lead. That's what I did. I took a step back and I let the donors lead. Then MRF led, the Inox led, right? The Lucas led, the Whirlpool led, and they start to lead. And I took a backseat and now passed on the credit to them. That's where it's important is, and rather than saying I did it, I said Inox did it. Satyabama University did it. MRF did it. And we gave them publicly recognition. And then they continue to lead. And I believe they're continuing to do this work even after I've left.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm Parthiv Nishant from Hyderabad. I'm a part of the water conservation group mentored by Chandni ma'am. Common sites in my locality are water bodies and lakes that need cleaning and revival. I wanted to work on it and met the municipal commissioner. He connected us to a startup that built an artificial intelligence enabled robotic trash cleaning boat, which cleans lakes and water bodies in a few hours, whereas it takes about 15 days if done manually. With the plastic waste collected, they are venturing into creating construction grade bricks, tiles, and barricades, which is a great value addition to circular economy. The gases emitted in this process can be further compressed to create fuel. It's like converting plastic back to crude oil. The machinery also costs about 10 times lesser than that of the government. Yet there is not much progress and awareness. I shared my idea about recycling water hyacinth, other eco-friendly products that are considered export quality in the markets. This supports women empowerment too. I interviewed the director of the startup to understand the potential of this project and the various challenges they are facing. And clearly, there is a lack of system and support in place. So my question to you would be, ma'am, how do we bridge the gap between government authorities, NGOs, and social activists to bring in better administrative support to execute our projects and ideas?
By Parthiv, the way is synergy, not work in silos, but synergy. It's convergence, it's collaboration, it's community development, it's collective functioning. So it's all about C's coming together, not competing. So take the one C away, which is competition, but bring the other C's together, collaborate. Now, what do you mean by collaboration? Exactly what the Prime Minister is currently doing. He is bringing together agencies to work together, because every agency has a role, but together they perform, together they deliver. As I explained to you, somebody has this session, somebody has this, because that's what distribution of work is about. So what you're saying is actually bringing the government on the spot. And what is government? Government is the key departments which all have a role. Now, who leads? Who leads? Can the community leader, can poor Chandni say, come together? And if the panchayat doesn't want to come? If the panchayat doesn't want to come, what does Chandni do as an NGO? I could do as a lieutenant governor because I was the head of the department. But what does a community leader do all alone? Unless they're big people, they demonstrate. That's where you have agitations. That's where you have demonstrations. But if you don't want an agitation, you don't want a demonstration, the role is of the secretary coordinating concerned in the government. Now, again, the role of the secretary is, ye mera kaam nahi, ye uska. Wo kahega, ye mera aadha kaam hai uska, ye mera aadha uska. Are aadha karke come together. And then it becomes a whole, not by pies. So chief secretaries, secretary of public works departments, secretary irrigations have a role to play. Secretary municipal commissioners have a role to play. They can summon up all of them. But again, they are only one department. Others will not come. Because public works department say, why should the other will say, why should I report? Because they're all equal. In the government, all these secretaries are all at par. They're all departments at par. The only person who's at the top is the chief secretary concerned, or the chief minister, or the minister concerned. Even the minister concerned has a problem, because Minister PWD cannot get into Minister for Power. It cannot get into Ministry for Finance, well as there are so many others involved. So there's science and research. Right? So I think that is where the collector plays a role in the district. The district collector can bring all the departments together. That's why he's called collector. So these are the hubs the government systems has. But when the hubs or the panchayat sarpanch, he brings all the panchayats, all the mandals together. So when the head functions effectively as a head, it's like father of the family, mother of the family, all children come together, family. But can the elder brother or one brother say, no, sisters, brothers, come together? He say, who are you? I'm the older brother. Why did you not ask me? It's like exactly the family situation. But when daddy says, or mommy says, hey, children, come together. Family, come to grandfather says, everybody comes together. So where's the grandfather? So the grandfathers of the government have to bring the fathers together, the mothers together, the families together. That means family of departments, right? So once you do that, so therefore you have to see that the collector functions. You got to drive the change through the collector. Every district has a collector. And the collector cannot say he does not have the power. Collector has everything. Collector even has the funding. He can ask for more. And that's where today the government of India is focusing on the performance of the collectors to deliver. And that's why all collectors have been given charges of so many ponds a year, so many these water bodies per year they have to deliver. So I think you have to find the person who can bring everybody together and then focus on that. But every collector varies in his initiative from one situation to the other. Some bring together people and some just delegate and then are not taking any feedback and they're not even going on site. You have to make one initiative. Take the head to the site and then fix it as a feedback on a regularity basis. Saying, okay, sir, we brought you today, madam. Now we're going to come back next week again to see if we made any progress. And then next week again, don't give up. You have to persist and persevere. This is how the magic works. Otherwise, what you're saying is all technology department. There's a department of science and technology. There's a science department, agriculture. They're all divided. But who brings the government together? That's why if you notice, even in Indian government, the prime minister is bringing ministries together. The PMO is bringing people together. That's why the role of the Prime Minister's office and the PM himself making these policy announcements and then doing that, bringing together. There's a concept he's created. I don't know what, I'm forgetting the name, where he's bringing all departments together in one show, so that they can all synergize and evaluate. So that's the key. So you as youngsters, tomorrow you adopt upon or you decide, find out where is the collector, bring him to the site. Ask him to bring departments together and then say, okay, sir, we're coming back next week. Let him mobilize. He can mobilize. He can do everything what I could do as a lieutenant governor. So as a lieutenant governor, I could do it for the whole state. He can do it for that district. Roles are the same. If it's this big, then he's got this, but he's got the role. These are the collector to collector differences. Some are performing and some are not performing, or some are less performing.
All right, ma'am. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tanisha and I'm a student from Bangalore in grade 8. In our locality, water is wasted in large amounts and people are largely insensitive to this. This was a worrying problem, so I set out to create change. In this process, I put forward a plan to the RWA, Residents Welfare Association, and worked to implement solutions like rainwater harvesting, recharge wells, etc. I also wrote a report on a nearby lake and the pollution as well as the rejuvenation efforts it faced. Art was also an important tool in my journey. Poetry, storyboards, and social media alike helped me and others to connect with the cause. So, I would like to ask you a question, ma'am. In this age of social media, what role do you think activism plays and how do students like us fit into that, especially considering the technicalities of actually implementing ideas?
When you go on a site and you feel sensitive about it and you feel that somebody is not performing and that the problem is lying on the side and nobody is acting and that the government agencies are not acting and the public is insensitive, make a reel of it, make a small video of it, make a news of it, take a picture of it. A picture speaks 1,000 words. So put it on social media saying, we went on site, this is what we see. Friends, here's an appeal. Then tag the government department concerned. So tagging is the right way. So tag and alert and expose. As it said, sunshine is the biggest disinfectant. So bring sunshine and bring searchlight on it. And once you bring searchlight on it, how many would like to shut their eyes? How many would like to put goggles? How many times? So don't let the problem be. Don't be afraid of stating the problem. State the problem, see the result, restate the problem, then go back and tag people, and then go back to say, just wanted to know whether it caught your caught your attention. Would you like to please come? Then follow it up by an email. Follow it up by an email. Send it by forward the snippet to the government. So it's like giving the government to be aware. Government and RWA. RWAs have an equal role to play. They may be as well polluting it. Then you can go back to the municipality and say, hey, somebody's polluting a lake which has got cleaned up, like what has happened in Bangalore or elsewhere, where chemical is going in and then there's a foam on the whole lake. Have you noticed sometimes in Bangalore, there's been whole lake foaming and the foam coming on the road of that foam which generated through chemicals. So that's why they started to destroy the high-rise buildings from there, because that's where the resource, that pollution was coming. So question is, what can you do? You expose the problem, state the problem, reiterate the problem, raise the problem, and raise the pitch as a last resort. And last but the least is the National Tribunal. If nothing works, go to the tribunal and put it as a small little student's PIL. Application to the tribunal, that this is what's happening. This is the job even of the tribunal. The National Tribunal, those, what are they called? Tribunals. What are they called? Environment tribunals? What are they called?
National Green Tribunal.
The entities, National Green Tribunals. So go to the Green Tribunal and put in an application as students. You will be heard. It will work. You don't need expensive lawyers. Put in application as citizens or a citizen body. You're all right. You're fine. You don't need lawyers. And bring the evidence and put in an application in very clear, natural citizen terms. So from doing nothing, you can do plenty. But it needs perseverance and sustained activism. But see, you've exposures also, and you've also you're not just complaining and saying, and bada maja aaya, inko expose karke. No, maja aaya. No, you followed it through. You want action. So there's no maja and sadism in this work. It's a need for change. You are a genuine change maker. Okay. Next. Carry on.
Good evening, ma'am. My name is Twisha and I'm a ninth grader from Mangalore and I'm part of the water conservation group. The project I took up was to interview my estate manager and transcribe the interview with him. He told me about the structure of the water harvesting in our society and how it works. Our group also made a social media page through which we are actively trying to spread awareness. My question to you is, ma'am, you have worked on several projects on water sensitization. What inspired and propelled you to take up these projects in the first place, and how did you start?
My inspiration came from within. What am I there for? What is my purpose? Am I here to just occupy a position of celebration? Or is it ceremonial? Or is it performance driven? It is performance driven. It is sense of duty. I don't need to be told by so and so. I have to ask my own self, what am I here for? When you occupy a position, you ask yourself, why am I here? What am I supposed to do? What can I do more? How can I do it? Who can help me? Where can I get the help from? When you understand your purpose, like for instance, you're going to school. Every child, you all go to school. Ask yourself, why am I in this school? Why am I in such a good school? Why are my parents paying such a heavy fee? Why I have one of the best teachers? Why am I gifted with such great books? Why do I have a best of the laboratory? Why? So that I use everything well. Does anybody need to be telling you, use this? Why do I have a playground? I ask children, many school children, do you play? No. Why? Why do you use the playgrounds there then? Why don't you go play? Play. It will help you expand your, stretch out and be a fighting fit. Why? Ask yourself the purpose of your being there. So anything you do, ask yourself why. I only had to, when I was appointed as Lieutenant Governor, nobody had told me, go and do your duty. It's meant for duty. It's a duty position. So if I'm an association, if I'm a youth organization, if I'm a body, ask yourself, why am I here? Okay, I can work for 10 hours. I can give everything to it, these 10 hours, and do everything that's possible. And I multiply, don't need to be told. Not once did the Prime Minister have to tell me, Kiran, do this. It's my, if I am going to be told, then I'm a schoolgirl, a child. Because even the child can need guidance, but not an adult. Adult must start asking himself or herself, why am I here? In fact, even the basic comes in, why am I blessed with good health? Why have I got all my 5 senses intact? There are many who got weak eyesight. Somebody may have a problem with the limbs. Somebody may have problems with others. Why has God gifted me everything that I can ask for? I've got best health. I got resources. I got a college. I got somebody taking care of my day-to-day needs. Then what is my role? My role is give it all I can. That was my purpose. So moment you have that as a purpose, nothing stops you from being a change maker in anything you touch. Then once your purpose is identified, you know I'm here for a cause. Then you start looking for a cause. Oh, ma'am, there's no cause here. Ma'am, I don't see this problem. Well, then you've not seen the problem. You have an opportunity, go see, exploit, use. Navjyoti is born out of purpose, by the way. Navjyoti India Foundation was born, registered in 1988 out of a purpose. And the purpose at that time was, for me as a serving officer, was how do I prevent crime from these little children who are turning to be drug pushers or drug peddlers, and how these women are drug sellers and these youth drug addicts. And we started to run treatment centers, schools for children, women's centers for women. It was a purpose-driven Navjyoti. Purpose at that time in 1988 is different from 2022. 1988 was crime prevention, rehabilitation, reform, correction. Today, it's empowerment. Today, Navjyoti has moved from rehabilitation, correction, etc., to empowerment, including water empowerment. But you see, a tree has grown and it's flowered to the purpose can constantly change and amend. That time our purpose was open schools for children. Now it is skill the children who are already in school, because children are already in school. All these years, schools have opened, children have gone to school. Purpose changes. But the basic purpose is remain worthy for the reason the foundation or your position has been created. Purpose will keep changing and evolving. The more alert you are, the more purposeful you will, productive you will be. Purpose is to be of value, constant value. Once your purpose is, I must constantly, well, some people retire and stop doing anything. Some retire and find a way to become productive and purposeful. Why? They're finding purpose in their life. Some say, no, that's not my purpose is now entertainment. Okay, keep watching Netflix every day. That's your purpose. Your purpose is entertainment. Another's purpose would be, can I be of value to society? Can I go to a retired school to teach? Purpose is, how do I add value to my time? So the moment you get your purpose as students, as citizens, citizen purpose can be, how can I be a strength to my country? By being a change maker. Individually, collectively. That's building the nation. Everybody is a startup today. Everybody's innovator today. Everybody's an entrepreneur today. Everybody's an innovator today. Everybody. It's a purpose. But purpose varies from person to person. My purpose was continue to strengthen communities and make sure government money is not wasted. So I became financially very conscious how the government money is spent. So this is where the purpose. You understand? That's a crux. I'm trying to expand this to you, basically drive home that you are at a very, very good age to understand this. Moment you have, and for me, last 40 years of policing, which I did, were all purpose driven. I did many assignments, all had a purpose. Prison assignment had a purpose. I was Inspector General Prisons. What was the purpose? There's no entrepreneurship there. There's no water harvesting there. But the purpose was, let this man who's come into the prison step out of the prison and not come back. That was the purpose. That means I brainwash him in such a way, educate him in such a way, inspire him in such a way that he gets out of the prison, says, I'm never going to come back. And how will he never come back? Means he's skilled, he's employed, he's got his revenge back out, he's got his anger out, and he starts looking for a better life. So how do we prepare him? That means purpose is preceding preparation, or precedes or follows. So that's it, Tishwa. I thought I'll explain to you all. Purpose driven. Yeah.
Extremely inspiring, ma'am.
Next question, Swami.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, Ashmi.
I am Ashmi Trivedi. I'm a grade 11 student from Pune. So for the project, I had devised a plan to recycle the water which was coming out from the outlet in RO water purifiers. So I conducted a household water audit and surveyed the houses in my locality. So these RO purifiers waste around 14-15 liters of water every day. So to fix this, we can connect the outlet pipe to a big drum where the water can be stored, and this water can be used to wash dishes or washing of vehicles or for gardening. So since our house help is usually in charge of the household tasks, I have spoken to them and explained how we can conserve the water being discharged by the purifier. This is a small step and it can be used on an individual level, but if everyone is, then we can save a lot of water. While speaking to the people in my locality, I noticed that a lot of them did not understand how the technology works. So, ma'am, my question is, how important is technical knowledge in the process of conservation, and how do we make sure that things are correctly done in the process?
Once the technical knowledge is spoken in lay language, it's no more technical. So how do you put the technical language? How do you explain the science of it in layman's language? It will be understood. The moment you start using technical garbage, they will not understand. It will put them off. So find lay words to explain the experiment. So it's communication. How do you communicate? Do you communicate technically, or do you communicate with their lay language? It's the way you communicate. That means the art of communication and convincing and education. It's something like a teacher. Teacher can make a mathematics theorem very difficult, and another teacher can make the mathematics as a very easy understanding. It's the way the teacher teaches. One teacher can put you off to the mathematics and drive you away from maths. Another teacher will invite you and make you love the subject because the way she's explained it. So what you do is find practical ways of demonstrating. You can demonstrate. Ideally would be if you can find a demonstrative way, which they see for themselves, not just hear, see the changes and see the impact. And films, showing films, if you can take them to a film or show them project your computer and say, here's my little projection and I'll show you. That works. So let the picture speak, the movie speak, and then do a Q&A.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, my name is, should I continue?
Yes, Anusha.
Hello, my name is Anusha Datta Gupta from grade 9 in Gurgaon. I'm from the Upcyclers group. During this program, we discussed the importance of the zero waste concept in upcycling. We each made a zero waste questionnaire to collect data. We made waste audits of the trash produced in our homes and presented the data. We had all created posters on awareness about the zero waste lifestyle and the dry waste paper collection campaign. We used this technique of storyboard taught by Anshuman sir to make our digital posters more engaging and conversational. We collected 100 kgs of waste and contributed this to the ACT Foundation. The rural women upcycled the waste paper into eco-friendly and utility products. The usage of waste paper into profitable products creates a circular economy, and the profit from this goes to the rural upcyclers working at ACT, making them financially independent and giving them opportunities and independence. we discussed the concept of a social entrepreneur and discussed marketing strategies for the upcycled products. As change makers, we will continue to with zero waste awareness, do waste collection campaigns, and help in promoting recycled and upcycled products. Ma'am, you have worked on many environmental projects, such as waste management products and water-rich literature. Along with the usual problems of indifference from people, what other problems did you face trying to get people to contribute, and how did you overcome them?
So are you focusing on waste management at the moment?
Ma'am, usually when it comes to people wanting to make a change,
Yeah. Are you wanting me to focus on now waste management?
No, ma'am. In general, when you have projects that you want to make a difference in from an environmental aspect, a lot of people tend to be indifferent towards the issue. So, other than that main issue that comes, are there any other issues that you face, or and how do you overcome them?
You mean to say any issue which you face as you work?
Trying to trying to get people to contribute to the effort instead of people being indifferent, because that's a universal problem that comes along with it.
You see, remember, every area would have its own unique challenge. Some things are similar, like sanitation is similar. Everybody wants cleanliness. Everybody wants dengue-free area. Everybody wants no cholera. Everybody wants no contamination. That means sanitation is the key. Health, water is the key. That's similar, right? Now, in this similarity, you can have similar kinds of communications and awareness drives. There can be others too, like for instance, security issues. There can be law and order. There can be a ruffian in the neighborhood. There can be health hazard. It can. That is when you walk the streets. So as activists, you got to walk your street, walk your work. Walking the work identifies specificity of the areas you work. So there are similar issues and there are emerging issues. And when you start addressing those individuals, let's say there may be domestic violence in a particular neighborhood. So how do you deal with that? So there are area issues, because that's what human life brings along with its own. So when you identify that, then you start thinking, where do I go? If I want to resolve more, where do I go? Then you start connecting the dots. Domestic violence, okay, I'll go to crimes against women cell. Legal issue, I'll go to legal aid cell, right? Then you start looking at governance as a whole. Which are the departments which empower the citizens? Then you're looking at city governance. That's where you learn to be administration. And that is by internships. I suggest try and become interns with government departments. I had an internship program at the Lieutenant Governor office. We also have internships in Navjyoti. I think that's how you came. See, encouraging, and today government policy is to encourage internships in corporate sector, with NGOs, and in government. And I notice the corporates are taking in bright interns. NGOs are welcoming bright interns and even retaining some bright interns. Government departments are still slow. They are the ones who are not encouraging, like the PWD can have engineers as interns. Health department has doctors and nurses as interns, and so many things. NGOs certainly, as I said, management schools are today sending many of their students as interns with NGOs, and that's what Navjyoti also does. So when you are in area, look at, if you're supposing you're taking up a village or you're taking up RWA, remember there are some common and some individual. And for the individual, then work with the REA, work with the RWA, work with the panchayat, and look at where does the problem fit. That means you're looking as a control center. You're becoming a community center, which is a service center. You're becoming like a community service center if you grow. And community service center provides all the services at one go. Remember that. That's what community service centers are meant, and they're opened in everywhere. Today, community service centers are available at a very small fee to provide services, including policing, passport verification, bank account, compensations, pensions, healthcare. Community service centers can be tapped to become a resource for you. Government schemes. So certain nearby NGOs. That means you start looking for, oh, I've come across a problem. Where do I go? You start searching. That means you're challenging yourself to find out where is the solution. That's what a change maker is, which goes to identify them. I'll give you an example. When I was DCP traffic, young as you, when I just started the service, I got this charge. Every morning, 8 in the morning. 5 o'clock in the morning, I would get up, clear all my files. No paperwork left. It will get bundled. All the files would get bundled. The bundle will leave by 8 in the morning to the office for files to be distributed. Paper signed, and in a audio phone, I would speak all the acknowledgement for letters. My steno will type it out. Letters also ready to be signed. But 8 in the morning, I would be on the road, driving the streets. When I would drive the streets is the DCP traffic. And what was I seeing? I always tell the driver, take me to an area where the problem is. Don't take me to VIP areas where there's no problem. There's lovely Teen Murti Mark. There is a Wellington Crescent, no traffic problem, or there is India Gate. That's tourism. Take me where the problem is. Ma'am, wahan bada jam rehta hai traffic. Ma'am, wahan border band rehta hai. Ma'am, wahan par log khade rehte hai. I said, take me there. Take me to North Delhi. Take me to traffic areas. So I would then drive my car into the problem. Can you believe it? I used to drive my car into the sheep. There is a lot of in these areas where the sheep were going for slaughtering. I would drive my car into the sheep. And I said, this cannot go on. You cannot occupy the road like this. There has to be a timing for this. So I used to go and see the problem. Once I saw the problem, then I consulted my team members when I would come back to the office at about 12 o'clock, 12:30. After 4 hours on the road, I've seen Delhi. I've noted the problems. I've seen the problems. I said it on the wireless, saying, I've seen this, I've seen this, I've seen this. So officers were hearing, madam is on the road, and here, madam ne ye dekha, madam ne ye. Everybody was alert, ke pata nahi madam kiske area mein aa jayegi. But I saw the problem. And then at 12 o'clock, I would ask the traffic inspectors of that area, what is it that you're doing with this problem? Where are you sitting at that time? Why are you not on the road to clear it? And that improved the presence of the traffic policemen on the road, and problems started to decline. And when they declined, there was a general feeling amongst the Delhiites, oh, we have solutions. Ghaziabad, Delhi-Ghaziabad border was choked with trucks. At that time, it was blocked up. You could not pass a needle through it. All I had to do was, the solution I found was, just put a crane, position a crane and lift one truck away. And say, you block the road, I'm taking your truck away. Any truck losing 5 days of business was a lot of loss. One crane positioning at the Ghaziabad border opened the border. They got off the road to pay their octroi. They didn't block the road. They got off the road, they put it on kacha, and they started to pay their taxes, and the road was moving. And how did I get a feedback? I went back to it after 1 week. I went back again and again. There was no other technology supports, but I went back to sustain it. What I'm saying is, go to the problem. Don't go where everything's okay. I've been new VIP. Where is the problem in the VIP area? There's none. This very well regulated. There's a double carriageway, and it's cleaner, it's broader road. Where's the jam? Jam is in North Delhi. Jam is in West Delhi. Jam is in East Delhi. Go there. Go East Delhi. Wahan nahi koi jayega. Arey main itni problem mein phas jaun. No, go there. And that's where it's like go where there's entanglement. Don't go where there's everything smooth. Go where there's entanglement and drive through the entanglement, and then open up the situation. So from little lanes, the roads started. Similarly, encroachments. Drive by the encroachments, and all the shops started going back. So Chandigarh, when I was IG Delhi, IG Chandigarh, I told you, I just had to mount one video camera on the car. And I said, इनके सब जरा फोटो खींचो, जिन्होंने अपना सामान गाड़ी के दुकान के बाहर लगाया है, just take a video of that. And everybody started to put their fridge, put everything, because now they are afraid of a video camera. Just one video camera. Where's the cost? It's all about change making, looking at solutions, asking yourself, what can you do better? And that's where people start driving the change, because now they start believing change can happen. But the more you go into the problem, More you seek the problem, more solutions will come, and you challenge yourself. It's sometimes very troublesome. Sometimes the solution is not easy. You start struggling, but the results are very rewarding.
Wonderful, ma'am. Go to the problem.
That's right. And the problem gets easier.
Thank you,
Don't go to the problem becomes a mountain. Okay, we got the last question.
Next. Yuvraj. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Vasvi, and we as change makers had prepared a questionnaire, and the motive was to create awareness about zero waste in the society. The questionnaire is on the website of ACD. It also gave us an idea about how many of the people in the society know about zero waste and the number of people who actually segregate waste in the society. So, ma'am, my question to you is, how can we encourage zero waste and how long will it take to achieve zero waste?
Just as Pani Panchayat, Pani movement, catch the rain where it drops, and Ghar Ghar Pani, proper Nal se Jal, Jal se Nal, something like that. All these movements have come. Very soon you will see Prime Minister, very soon will start talking about waste management more and more. Because every house generates waste. Every house generates organic waste, soft waste, vegetable waste. Every park generates nature waste, like tree leaves, branches. You know that called horticulture waste. So you have horticulture waste, you have vegetable waste, you have e-waste, you got plastic waste. You got so many wastes. That first is segregating it. So source segregation is critical. Rather than not bunching it, segregate it. Once you segregate it, then RWAs can take up all the organic waste and create it into manure. And if they have got lawns, whatever the gardeners can use the waste, organic waste. Plastic waste can be sold because plastic can be recyclable and so many interesting things can be made of the plastic. Bottles can be crushed. Even glass bottles can be crushed to become bangles now. There are other areas where glass bangles are now bottles. Whiskey bottles in Bihar, women are now using these from prohibition, now collecting all the bottles and now smashing them to make bangles. So everything has a value. So friends, we have to spread the message. So don't go very wide. Pick up one RWA, pick up one village, pick up one street, begin with that and multiply as model. Is first waste segregation. Do not mix e-waste. There's a lot of e-waste also. Do not throw batteries and cells into the organic way because that's poison. See, that's poisonous. So chemical waste has to be said. It's segregation. Again, go back to schools. Ideally is go to schools. Let the boys and girls handle the kitchens themselves and say, Mummy, ye nahi karo. Mama, yahan karo. Children will point out to the parents. So begin with 9th and 10th standard with you people. You handle the waste and keep 2-3 bags. One bag for organic, one bag for plastics and etc. Another for another kind of waste. And you will see the difference. So segregation at source and then tie up the bag and give to the waste collector 2 different bags. One is organic and he doesn't have to separate. Otherwise, I've seen many garbage people who come and pick up, they go and use their hands to segregate. Don't use that. Use these segregated bags. Similarly, the streets can have these bins, the yellow bin, the green bin, see the green, the yellows, etc. Where you put in, as you walk the street, you put plastic in that and you put in paper, etc. in this. So the bottles, you finished with water bottle, put the water bottle. So it's a plastic waste. So there's a green box. That's what Indore has done. Indore is a wonderful example. So Chandni could answer the last 2 questions. Don't worry, she and I are in total mental alignment in answering these kinds because we work together for donkey's years now. It's a whole lifetime of work together. She can answer the questions on my behalf and she'll do it better, I can tell you that.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We are extremely, I can't tell you how much we learned and that which you leave with us, go the purpose driven, go to the problem, and find value to your time. It's immensely enriching, ma'am. All that you said, I think these bunch of change makers have been extremely inspired and enriched by you, and you are a trailblazer change maker, ma'am. And I'm sure these children will also follow your path. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Somi, and thank you, children, for all of you. I want to thank the WORDPLAY and Action Center for Transformation, and Navjyoti India Foundation, and Chandani and you, and all the children for all the time you give. Thank you.
Ma'am, there's Nilanjana from Maths. So Nilanjana,
I saw her.
Nilanjana Das. She's the founder of ACT, who's working with mental-based management students. So just
respected Kiran Bedi ma'am, I'm Nilanjana, founder of Action Center for Transformation, and I got this beautiful opportunity of mentoring the 5 kids on zero waste. And I run this organization which brings economic empowerment for women by recycling the waste to resource. So we are working on the paper basically, but cloth, textile, and also now entering into plastic waste. So that is how we have met. And it was very, very inspiring hearing you and hearing your insights on particularly on the government part and also the leaders. The leaders, you said that you can lead the organization, but you have to create more leaders, because to bring this change in water or in the upcycling or waste management, one person cannot do it. You need to have a whole lot of team to do it. You need many more leaders. So I think, this has been a beautiful program to inspire the young minds to think about this, to begin to think about this water, to think about the waste, which will help in the future. They can make their own startup, they can think of something, and they can bring solutions to the problems. Thank you, ma'am, for hearing about, thank you so much.
Nilanjana, do work with Navjyoti, continue working on waste management.
I will.
Village to village, we can go colony to colony.
Yes.
Water along with sanitation, this kind would be a magical turnaround.
Yes, sure. I'm in touch with Chandni, and I'm very happy, because I have been following Navjyoti's work, and that's been a very inspiration for me as well. So definitely I'll be in touch with Chandni, and we see what we can do it together.
Super. Bless you. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to go for another event, so I've got to quickly get ready to go. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Good morning, ma'am. My name is Sabha Gupta, Shinal student. I want to talk about conducting a home audit and the importance of it. During that Changemaker journey, we learned more about waste segregation and the larger impact of it. By conducting waste audits, we are able to recognize the areas of excess in our garbage disposal, and we can recognize the type of waste which we should be focused on decreasing. Conducting home audits just doesn't affect us individually, but it has a greater impact on the homes all around the world. If every single house can conduct a home audit, then we can drastically reduce the waste disposed by all of us, making the high peaks of landfills disappear. Now that the Zero Waste Initiative is in place, where do you see the initiative in the future, and do you believe that it can make a real change?
So Nilanjana, would you like to address the question on waste management? Sorry, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Sorry, I was in mute. Yeah, I'm saying that we have been interacting a lot. So I'll be happy that if you reply, if you answer, and let's take it in a very informal way. Yes, you can answer the questions.
Yeah. Yes. First of all, I would really like to appreciate the work that, the students from the other group working on waste management, they've done. And like ma'am said, I would just like to reiterate that, waste management and water is something that is going to be the next step, right? So when you say that, where do we see this? Well, if, students like you who are truly the change makers, if you can advocate, you can talk about it in all the societies, beginning from where you stay, I think it has a great potential. And in future, it is not just about the waste segregation, but like you have done so much research that out of waste, what all can be done. It is like waste to wealth, waste, like ma'am always say that it is a gold. You don't call it waste. It is actually gold. It is valuable. It has that, value which gold has, so in the future, well, it has a long way to go, and there's so much research happening, so much the good work that Nilanjana is doing, converting waste into such good products. In fact, there's so many startups, who are trying to collect this plastic waste. We are coming up with one project where we are motivating some of our women to convert plastic waste also into some good products, and which will generate livelihood for women in the rural communities, like Nilanjana is doing with paper. That's something we're planning to do with even plastic. So it has a long way, we see that that's going to happen soon, converting waste to wealth.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sabia.
Good evening, ma'am. My name is Vikram and I study in 8th and I'm a resident of Gurgaon. I'm in the upcycling group and our group held a dry waste collection at a society. So after doing a home audit, we realized the waste which we segregated in homes, the wet waste goes for composting in the society and the dry waste goes to the landfills. Therefore, we held a waste collection drive where we prevented over 100 kgs of dry waste from being dumped in the landfills. This waste was then contributed to the rural upcyclers. So, ma'am, my question to you is, what are your insights on plastic waste and how can we manage it at our level?
For plastic waste, Vikram, I would say the first thing is, reduce as much as you can, reduce the usage of plastic waste. Simple initiatives, very simple initiatives. When you're going to the market, carry the bags with you. It has to start from there. Then, of course, comes the recycling of plastic waste, which I just mentioned, that how we're trying to recycle the waste, plastic waste into products. In fact, in Gurugram, because most of you are from Gurugram, it is already banned. People are not aware about it. And I think the change has to start from us. When we go to market, and even if the vendors are giving us the plastic bags, you can always refuse. So it is not just the reduced recycling, but also refuse to accept it, that we are carrying our own bags. So it has to start from there. If you talk about plastic waste, and of course, keep spreading the movement, keep sensitizing people around you, impart awareness, spread the cause as much as you can. Only then this change will happen, and we'll be able to create a difference when it comes to plastic usage.
So I'll add one more point here. So when say plastics, we always say, definitely one, carry your own bag. We say carry your own water bottle as well. Don't use the plastic bottles. Third, carry some, when you're going to a restaurant to carry a food, carry your own tiffin box so that you don't bring those plastic things and the spoons. Use sip it, or don't use the plastic straws, because these plastic straws or plastic, those containers or the bottles, these makes the maximum havoc, and it takes long years to degrade for the degeneration. So these simple habit, this is again in our behavior change. When we are going out, we just carry a cloth bag, or we put in a spoon where you are a small a water bottle there, so that we don't buy, because in Gurgaon, we tend to, when people have money, okay, I'm thirsty, let me buy a water, a big Bisleri kharid liya. And then we just throw it in the dustbin. Okay, so then we can reduce, every action that we are doing, so we first think before we do it, should I do this or should I think so? This behavior change, or this change in mindset, and it has to have a ripple effect. It's not only we as an individual, definitely we have to start, but it has to have a ripple effect, and it has to spread more. I think so if these 4-5 things can be controlled, there will be a reduction in the plastic waste. Yeah.
Yuvraj, would you want to go ahead with your question? I think.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. My name is Yuvraj Sharma. I'm in 10th grade and I live in Gurgaon. A social entrepreneur is one who creates a startup that develops and funds solutions that directly address current social issues. With our topic of zero waste management, it comes down to an initiative that corresponds with UN SDG 12, responsible consumption and production. With plastic filling up our oceans, the world needs to shift to a much eco-friendlier outlook towards life. Promoting upcycled and recycled products embodies just that. Using nothing but dry waste from our household, you can replace the plastic products at your home with the recycled ones to work towards a better future for us all. This not only helps our waste crisis, but strengthens the rural economy by generating a steady income for them. With the help of many NGOs such as ACT, their products are reaching a multitude of places to bring them more customers and more people to take materials from, i.e., take dry waste from, to enter the cycle of recycling and upcycling yet again. My question for you is, with kids of our generation bubbled up in their own worlds, not bothered by the current environmental problems, we try to engage with them using social media platforms. How else do you suggest we can grab their attention and their support?
Thank you, Yuvraj. I think you have all the solutions. Like, you spoke wonderfully, and what you've done is really commendable. Other than social media, I think the key is to reach out to the schools, to your fellow students, to your friends. Impart awareness there. I am not sure if you have zero periods, but in our times we used to have zero periods, or we used to have classes like SUPW. But I'm sure there must be some platforms where you can connect with them even in your own schools. So begin from there, other than social media, because of course, students of your age, most of them are there on social media. It's a wonderful platform to connect and reach out. But sometimes, one-on-one interaction and connection, it adds certain value. And the second thing that you can demonstrate is lead by change. When you reach out to them, talk to them, how it has changed, how you have changed, or how your lifestyle has changed. How is it going to impact? Like ma'am again shared, use these video clips, use films, share stories, and not just in schools, but also in your societies. Most of you are living in societies. If you can, use platforms like WhatsApp groups where your parents, most of the parents are part of these WhatsApp groups, create short snippets or create small posters to connect with the RWAs, with the citizens groups, and also seek out some time when these RWAs have their meetings. You can seek out time from them. You can request for time from them, and just say that I need 10 minutes or 15 minutes to reach out to my society members, and start awareness from there. So while social media, like you said, is a good platform, another way to reach out to students is through your schools. Create small circles, create small clubs in your school. If you don't have clubs like these, you can have water clubs, you can have waste management club, and take initiatives from there, and it will, I'm sure, spread to other schools as well, and the change will happen for sure.
All right, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Yuvraj.
Thank you for all the wonderful questions that came up. So I was thinking, I started this initiative with the intent of, pulling out the children from the bubble and sensitizing them. Today I'm really, so happy to see the way the children are, after working with the two emulative organizations and the question answer session that happened, the way the children came out, interacted, and ma'am giving her insights. It's wonderful to see that the ball has started rolling.